This is my 2019 spec'd out MacBook Pro that has been the editing machine for my photo video business since then. And it also cost me $4,500. Honestly, it's been pretty great up to this point, except it lacks in one major department, and that's video editing. And dealing with the codecs from newer cameras, like the one that's filming me right now, my Canon R6, just makes the process awful. So much that I straight up couldn't finish a recent client project and I didn't really know what else I was gonna do. So instead of upgrading this laptop and getting the new M2 version, maxing it out, spending probably close to the same amount, I went a different direction. I got the Mac Mini M2 Pro, and it costs less than a third of the price. It's for my mouse. So that's great and all, but the question is it powerful enough for videographers, photographers, even filmmakers working with cinema cameras? Let's find out. So first off, this is the base model of the Mac Mini M2 Pro, meaning I didn't upgrade the CPU, storage, memory, anything. Just as is for $12.99. And like other reviews on my channel, I'm not really concerned so much about specs. I'd rather make product reviews based on real world use, how you would also possibly use them and showcase the results. And I've now been using the Mac Mini M2 Pro for about a month. So the Mac Mini M2 Pro comes with a 10-core CPU, 16 gigabytes of unified memory, and a 512 solid-state drive, which was honestly really hard to imagine that would be enough because my laptop alone has much more than that. It has 64 gigabytes of memory, more CPU, and more storage, so kind of nervous about that. But I figured if it didn't work out, I could simply return it and upgrade what I needed. And I was also really interested in upgrading to a computer desktop setup instead of a laptop because I just realized that I've only been using laptops in my 8-9 years as a photographer videographer. Kind of crazy, I've never just invested in a desktop, and so I had all the parts that I needed. You know, I have this is an LG ultra wide monitor. It's kind of old, but it still works really well. I have it on an arm where I can just swing it out of the way like when I'm making videos, adjust it really easily, and then a wireless keyboard and mouse. So I had all the components I needed. I just needed the computer. And because I also don't really travel anymore. Back then I did a lot more traveling, worked more remotely like in offices and things like that, but now all of the editing is done right here in this office. So it honestly just made the most sense. And I also really love the fact that it has 4 Thunderbolt and 2 USB-A ports. Those are really handy, especially when you're dealing with a bunch of drives. You can have them all plugged in at the same time. And the only thing I really wish it had though is an SD card reader. It could go right there. But until then, I'll just have to continue using a dongle. And of course you also have all your other standard ports like HDMI and Ethernet. So honestly, all the ports that you really need aside from an SD card reader. And I know it's not really easy for someone to just go out and drop $12.99, even though for me that's just sounds like an amazing deal, but it's still $1,300. So here's a pro tip. I almost always never buy gear just simply using cash or, straight from my bank account. I always try and utilize some sort of incentive, whether it's using my business credit card that gets cash back, trade in old gear, or anything else I can do to offset the cost or win money back. And in this case, I did that very same thing, but I also made sure that the project I was working on that I couldn't finish, but I finally could with the Mac Mini M2 Pro, I made sure that that cost would also cover the investment of this and still give me profit. Try and utilize the work you're doing, the gigs that you're shooting, to pay for the gear you're using. So I also decided not to upgrade anything on the Mac Mini M2 Pro because it seems like it's pro enough, but I also wanted to see if it was enough for regular creators that are creating video content, social media videos, photography, and even filmmakers that are working with cinema cameras, especially because of the price point that it's at. Sure, you can upgrade everything, but then you're gonna be spending a lot more, so I just really wanted to see what this base M2 Pro could do. I didn't really worry too much about upgrading the memory because 16 gigabytes should be enough, especially because I typically just work on fairly simple video edits, whether it's real estate, YouTube videos, social media content, and I typically only work in one app at a time. I don't have Premiere, Lightroom, Photoshop all open, so I don't think it would be an issue. And I also kept the storage at 512 because I fully work off of solid state drives. For example, this 2 terabyte SanDisk Extreme SSD is really fast, really reliable, never had any of these crash on me, and I keep my current projects on these, and then when I'm done shooting, I upload and make copies of the projects on the slower lacy drives and then also upload them to the cloud just so I have enough copies. But the great thing about this is whether I'm working on this computer or I switch over to my laptop, everything that I need for a project that I'm working on is on here, meaning I can easily plug it in here, plug it into the laptop, and I'm gonna have everything I need for the project. Even how I did these tests, when I did the video test, rendering off this or my laptop, all I had to do is plug it in and Premiere knew exactly where everything was. So it's really handy. And I have to note this as well. This actually crashed on me. This crashed about earlier last year and I had to send it in. Luckily it was covered by AppleCare, but everything that I had on this laptop, I lost. And luckily I had nothing on there other than my apps. So yeah, that was kind of scary. Okay, and now for the most important reason for upgrading. Can this run everything that this had struggles with? Can it run everything for my photo video business? The answer is yes, it definitely can. Right off the bat, I went to that really extensive video project that I seriously couldn't finish on my laptop. I opened up the project and to my surprise, it ran everything fine. When I was scrubbing through the project, it looked like I was editing 720p video. And in this project particularly, it's a transportation testimonial video where we shot it on cinema cameras using the C70, the C200, my Canon R6, really heavy video codecs for most computers to run, all shot in raw video, aside from my camera. On top of that, I had a bunch of effects in this project as well. I had diffusion layers, grain, color grade, sound effects, visual effects, titles, all on top of these really heavy video codecs. So honestly, on my laptop, it really struggled to run that. But using it on the M2 Pro gave me no issue. Like I said, it was just like editing 720p video and it was so refreshing. And I was honestly getting really nervous because I was really not wanting to deal with the fact that if it couldn't run that and I'd have to return this, upgrade to another one, and I was getting really behind on that project. It's just such a good feeling when tech just works like it's supposed to. You know, not just lagging and all the time, because if I opened that same project on this laptop, it would lag like crazy, not play when I would press play, just completely skip, and it just made the whole process dreadful. Practically impossible to get through that 1 minute edit, let alone 4 video deliverables for this project. So not only is editing time much faster, but so are export times. This really extensive video project that was just 1 minute took 4 minutes and 45 seconds on the M2 Pro to export in 4K, and it took almost 8 minutes, 7 minutes and 39 seconds on my laptop. So I'm currently exporting that victory video, which is a really heavy duty, extensive editing project, but the thing I want to know is, listen. It's silent. My laptop, whenever I do this test on my laptop, it's probably going to be blasting. The fans are going to be so loud. Okay, so it's still sitting at 5 minutes. It's already been a minute 40 seconds, but listen to those fans. It's only going to get louder, and that's what I hear all the time when I'm editing. Like, the fans are never on. So it's almost weird that there's no noise from the M2, like it's completely silent. So there's a significant difference, and that's a 1 minute video. Imagine if you were doing a 5 or 10 minute video with all of those same cameras. Makes a big difference. Another really heavy codec that my laptop always struggled to edit that I really love is Blackmagic. I've shot with the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K a couple of times. The video footage looks amazing, but again, this has such a hard time running that, it just makes it frustrating, especially if you color grade or add effects, it just lags like crazy. And then again on the M2 Pro, no issues at all. As you can see right here, you can play it back fine, even scrub through it, and it's a breeze. And I know that there's workarounds. I know you can make proxies, you can transcode your footage, and I've done all of those things and I did them for a while, but it just adds a whole nother step to the editing process, makes you fill up your drives faster, and it's just not something that I was wanting to do. So like I said, it's just nice when tech works and it speeds up your workflow, especially in your business. And then if you're not really working on really extensive video projects like just regular real estate video content like I normally am, it runs that even better, because even shooting footage from my R6 that's filming me right now really struggles on this laptop, and so being able to just breeze through it, put the edit together no problem with no lagging on the M2 Pro is so nice. Now, before getting to the last topic, I'd like to thank the sponsor for this video, Cuts. Now, think twice before skipping this section, especially if you want the most amazing shirt ever. So let's quickly jump back to the first year I ever got Cuts, and that was in 2021. Not sponsored then, just found out about them watching some of my favorite creators and swear by their shirts. Plus, at the same time, I was on a mission to find the perfect shirt to wear for shoots, every day, just all the time. Since I've bought that first shirt, I've bought multiple AOTs from Cuts since then. Because I was seriously so happy with the fit, the quality of the shirts, the rounded bottom, and subtle details, super breathable material they're made out of since I live in Texas, and the clean, minimal, and modern approach to all of their clothing. So if you want to check out Cuts and support me and my channel, check out the affiliate link in the description below. Use my code so you can get 15% off your purchase. Thanks again to Cuts for sponsoring this video and supporting the channel. Back to it. Lastly, what about photo editing? Are we to the point where just every computer and laptop is just extremely good at photo editing and that can't be approved? Wrong. There was definitely a difference editing photos on my laptop compared to the M2 Pro, so that was nice. Especially the fact that sometimes my laptop would still lag depending on how many photos I was going through, the type of photos, whether it's higher resolution photos, and even for real estate photos, we shoot auto exposure bracketed photos, anywhere from 3 to 5 photos and merge them in Lightroom. So that process can really take a long time, especially if you're merging multiple photos from multiple listings constantly. So I did a test of one of our recent listings and I merged 37 auto exposure bracketed photos. This was anywhere from 3 to 5 photos being merged into one HDR photo. So my laptop merged the photos in 8 minutes, and then the M2 Pro did it in just over 6 minutes. So again, faster on the M2 Pro. Then I also exported the same listing after the HDR photos were merged, quickly put my real estate preset over all of them, and the laptop did it in 2 minutes and 30 seconds, which is pretty good. And then the M2 Pro did it in 42 seconds. Exported like 53 photos in 42 seconds, just pretty crazy fast. And so again, all that time adds up, especially if you're doing all this stuff on a daily basis. And so something to think about. Okay, so final thoughts. Here's the most important thing to take away from this. Yes, it is super nice when a computer just works and can do everything you need it to do and have a way better video editing experience. But the most important thing I realized was how much time video editing on a slower computer was taking away from me working on my business, shooting more projects, family time, and anything else. The testimonial video project that I couldn't finish was one of 4 video deliverables. It took me about 2 weeks of multiple sittings to get through that 1-minute video edit that I exported. And when I finished the other video deliverables on the M2 Pro, it took hours. Not days or weeks, but hours of just 1 or 2 sittings because I could easily scrub and watch everything back and completely just think about the creative process, not wait for things to load, hit play, not have it play, skip, crash. It just made such a difference and honestly blew my mind because I thought that this project was gonna take like 4 to 5 months at the rate that the first video took. So honestly, since then, it's been so great at how fast I can finish, my regular real estate videos, social media projects, YouTube videos. Just so nice that it works and it speeds up the workflow. So the bottom line, do I recommend this to photographers, videographers, even filmmakers out there that are looking to upgrade their computer? Definitely yes, absolutely. I'm seriously so happy with it. So glad I made that investment. Again, video editing is now more enjoyable than it was before, and I can speed through edits, get work done faster, and focus on the next project. Especially if you're on an Intel-based computer like this one. That's kind of a drawback because this, I think, was the last model that was on the Intel CPU system before they switched over to the M1 chip. So if you're on one of these computers that's 2019 or older, I believe, or 2020 maybe, I definitely look at the new M2 that came out. And if you're already on an M1, I feel like you wouldn't see much of a difference because from what I've seen, the M1 is just as powerful as the M2s that came out and can pretty much run anything as well. And I also just love that I can still get so much more use out of my laptop, and it honestly has some new purposes for me and my business. I can still take this on trips, getaways like I already have, and it was so nice to have this, even if it's to backup footage or do basic video editing, and everyday work for my business, whether it's scheduling work, client communication, uploading work, and anything else. And it's also so nice that the battery lasts how it's supposed to now. It'll last for hours and hours and not just like 30 to 45 minutes if I don't have it plugged in and I'm working on a video project. So that's it for this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Comment down your thoughts on what you think about the Mac Mini M2 Pro. Are you gonna be upgrading to this? Are you looking at something else? I'd love to know your thoughts. Subscribe if you haven't already. I would love for you guys to be part of the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.